You ever walk into a place and feel like the floor itself is trying to spit you back out? That was me, the day I stepped into Brighttech's lobby with my patched-up sneakers and second-hand blazer. People didn't even have to say it out loud. I could feel it in the glances, the smirks, the way the receptionist said my last name like it was a punchline. "Monroe?" she said, as in Rosa Monroe, the janitor. Yeah, that happened. I told her I had an interview for an analyst position. She looked me up and down, then told security to escort me out. Said I must be confused. Said I didn't belong here. Brent, the guard, stood in front of me like I was trespassing. My chest was tight, my hands were shaking, but I held up my phone and said, "I have a confirmation email." Then came the twist no one expected. The CEO, Donovan Blake, stormed into the lobby yelling about a crisis. Something big had gone wrong in their data reports, and nobody could fix it. He slammed a folder down and demanded answers. People scattered like roaches. And then he looked at me. "You," he said, "you know data?" I nodded. "I was supposed to interview today. If that's the file, maybe I can take a look." Everyone stared like I'd lost my mind. But Donovan's eyes narrowed, curious. He shoved the folder into my hands and said, "5 minutes. Show me something or you're out." They sat me in the glass meeting room like I was a fish in a tank. People gathered, watching, waiting for me to fail. I flipped through the pages fast, scanning numbers like I'd done 100 nights in the basement while my mom cleaned upstairs. And I saw it. An expired vendor contract, throwing off the projections. Something so basic, it had slipped through because no one wanted to look. 4 minutes in, I stood up, walked out, and said, "Here's your problem. You didn't update your Q2 supply costs. Fix that. Everything realigns." Donovan took the folder, checked the numbers, and nodded slowly. His whole face changed. "Cancel the interviews," he told his assistant. "Alicia Monroe, come with me." Just like that. Upstairs, I presented the fix to the board. They stared like I was speaking Martian. One guy asked, "Why should we trust you over our experts?" I said, "Because I've been learning from the mistakes they leave behind. I don't have a fancy degree, but I have eyes, I have logic, and I'm not afraid to dig into what others throw away." Donovan smiled and said, "You just saved us millions. I want you to lead our audit team." That was the start, not the end. When I walked into the audit room, you could cut the tension with a knife. Jessica looked right through me. Luke smirked. "Guess janitor kids run the show now," he muttered. But I didn't back down. I stayed late, studied harder, listened more, pushed back when it mattered. I caught flaws in Jessica's model, explained blind spots to Luke without throwing shade. Slowly, they started listening. Tommy, the analyst who'd made the big mistake, pulled me aside. "Thanks for not embarrassing me," he said. "You fixed it quietly. That meant something." I told him, "We don't rise by tearing others down. We rise by pulling each other up." Weeks later, I presented a full audit overhaul to the board. One director said, "If this fails, who's responsible?" I said, "I am, because I believe in this process and in this team." Donovan backed me. The board approved the changes. I was named Director of Data Integrity. And just like that, I went from being someone they tried to kick out of the lobby to someone with her name on an office door. Rachel still works the front desk. Brent still stands near the elevators. Neither says much now. But my mom? She cried the first time she saw my name on the wall. And I'll tell you what I told her that night. I didn't get here because I was the smartest. I got here because I refused to stay invisible. Because every time someone told me I didn't belong, I stayed anyway. Now I want to ask you, have you ever been dismissed, judged, or shut out just because of who you are or where you came from? Have you ever had to prove your worth in a room full of people who never gave you a chance? Drop your story in the comments. Let's talk about what it really means to earn your place. Let's talk about what happens when the underdog refuses to stay down.